Hi, I'm Audra Carter. I'm the host of Bridging the Gap radio and TV show, whose mission is to bridge multicultural gaps through honest, authentic dialogue with our community. Bridging the Gap aims to inspire and empower unity in our community. Welcome to Bridging the Gap, and we're going to be talking about the children's movement of Florida. And with us today, we have what I consider to be, I kind of pulled them into this and didn't really tell them, what I consider to be bridge builders and gap standers. We have with us today two strong men in our community doing great things with children. We're going to talk about that on this segment. Mr. Randy Flemming, and you're from the Children and Family Services. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And we have John Hoffman. You know him, E-Care. Well, he told me before the show, he said, every child a reader, perfect people for a perfect conversation to talk about a movement that is about that. And you'll be hearing a lot about it in the next couple of weeks. And I just want to define for you what these individuals mean to me. These individuals are bridge builders. They impact our community, leaders, if you will. They are ready to serve others in every way. They deal with gaps in our culture and gaps in our understanding. These men do the unthinkable, and I want to thank you. And when you see them in the community, I want you to walk up to and say, John, we love what you do. Randy, we love what you do. But today we're going to talk about the children's movement of Florida. There's a buzz out there. What is it? Why such a name? And I heard you guys are doing an event. Tell me about that, Randy.
Well, the children's movement is an objective is to educate politicians, parents, civic leaders about the urgent need to improve the way we care for infants, toddlers, and the small children. You know, the first 5 years of a child's life are the most important. They set a lot of the direction for them for the rest of their lives. All those little nerve endings are connecting, and it's really critical that we take care of them during those first 5 years.
So the children of movement is, what is the movement all about, John?
I think the movement a one-day occurrence. This is something that's going to be progressive throughout the next couple of years, throughout the rest of our lives, that it's important to focus on early childhood development. If we can get them ready for school, the more prepared they are, the better they're going to be later on down the road for graduation and contribute successfully back to our community.
So
who's behind it?
Well, there's a lot of people behind it. One of the David Lawrence, who is a former editor for the Miami Herald, for example, is spearheading this. He's on a number of child committees throughout the state doing a lot of wonderful things for children and advocating for children's rights and children's needs. So he initiated. Roberto Martinez is another individual who is strongly advocating for the needs of children. Tony Jennings is on the steering committee, the former lieutenant governor for the state of Florida. Bob Butterworth is participating on the steering committee. So we've got a lot of influential people who can make change.
So the movement is, what's going to happen with the movement, and why do one in Pensacola, Florida? Why is the big deal about September the 6th?
September the 6th is the first of a series of 15 rallies across the state. Pensacola is the first city in the state of Florida, although there's another city that would like to claim it. Pensacola really is the first city, and they felt it was appropriate for Pensacola to start this rally because we are the first city. And they'll be across the state, with the last one being in Key West.
Okay, so they're going to start in Pensacola. And what makes Pensacola unique, John?
Well, I think Pensacola is very unique. We actually had Dave Lawrence come and speak to a chamber event a couple weeks ago, and he really was impressed by the momentum that we've already created within Pensacola over the last couple of years through E-Care and through a lot of things that other groups are doing. United Scambia DCF. I mean, there's a lot of people that are focusing on early childhood development, and we've got a lot of momentum. He's very impressed with what we've made already happen, and I think this can propel us to better and bigger things within early childhood development and into the future.
So what can people expect when they come to the event? And for those of you out there, we're going to put up there when the event is and invite you to come to the event.
Help move this movement forward. What can we do to help fight for the rights and privileges of children to be enhanced and better? It's going to talk about how the needs to cover health insurance, for example, or education, pre-K for our kids, childhood development screening, and what can they do to help with that, and just looking at ways we can support parents.
You know, one of the biggest problems we have with the Early Learning Coalition, which is part of the integral people that work with e-care, is that children and parents are not connected.
Right.
And by them not being connected, children don't get the things that they need to prepare themselves to do well in life. My greatest concern is that we as a community don't realize the incredible force we play in children's lives. Diane Hutchinson of the Early Learning Coalition Executive Director always says the parents are the child's first and most important teacher. Talk to that as we look at this movement and how people out there can think about being involved.
Yeah, I think, you know, to your point, Audrey, is you know, the parents are definitely the first teacher. But in Escambia County, we've got 25% of our population is functionally illiterate. So, you know, there's the programs of Bridges Out of Poverty, and we get in this vicious cycle, and it really does take a community to change and bring these children to get them ready for school. So it's one of those things that's very difficult, and if we can educate parents on what to do, we can teach the parents how to read, and how to teach their kids how to read, give them the tools that they need to be better parents. Some of them weren't raised the way that they needed to be raised, and so they don't know what's the right way to raise their child and get them ready for school. And I think that's part of the process, is just educating them on what are the basic steps and things that you can do to make sure your child is prepared for school.
Will we be addressing those things at the rally?
There'll be some providers around who before the rally, I think they'll be starting around 8:30 that day, and they will be available to talk about some of the things they're doing in the community to help children and to help parents prepare their children for the future.
One of the most important things we're doing in our community is connecting organizations together. So it's important for Randy and John to tell you a little bit about what they're doing in this community and why they would like to be a part of this children's movement of Florida. Either one of you, which you want to take?
Yeah, I'm working with the Strengthening Families Initiative, if you don't mind. I'll talk about that for just a minute, which is, you know, focuses on the strengths of families and building those strengths and some of those capacities to help them be better parents. It has 5 protective factors, and some studies have shown that if the parents and the families have these 5 protective factors, child abuse is greatly reduced. And not only is child abuse reduced, but the child development is also increased. And so, you know, it's really important that we have those structures in place that can help our parents be better parents. We weren't all raised in perfect homes, and so, you know, we raise our children the right way we were raised very often, and which means we make mistakes sometimes. And so if we can help our families do a better job of parenting, we can have a lot better successful outcomes for the kids in our community.
Okay, contrastly, John, you work with children.
Do. We, you know, with Every Child a Reader and United Escambia and the Education Solutions team, you know, our initiatives are kind of in line with what the movement's initiatives are, and it just happened to be that way. You know, we focus on professional development for the teachers within the preschools. We focus on parental capacity and building the knowledge of the parents, and then we focus on health and safety, and it goes right in hand with some of the key things that the children's movement is doing. And we feel that this is going to give us a lot of exposure and springboard us into the future and really give us some good support locally to continue the efforts that we're doing for early childhood development.
Okay, so tell us, when is the event, what time is it, and where do people need to be?
The event is September the 6th. That's Labor Day, and I know it'll be inconvenient, but it's going to have such a great effect on our community. It's at 10 a.m. at Pensacola High School here Pensacola. We're inviting everybody from the four-county area, Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton to attend.
So that means that, yes, just before you get into the barbecue, just before you can put the coals on, right?
That's right.
I'm not a cook by no means. I have a friend to say you don't make
And I mean, we're going to have some celebrity speakers. We're going to have giveaways. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things to do, and so it's a good family event for everybody to come out and enjoy the first part of your Labor Day.
Some of the radio stations will be
with us. You're
sure.
correct. It's my understanding that BLX will be there, and Cat Country is going to be there. WRNE Radio is going to be there, and they're going to be giving cookies and milk in the morning for you guys because. As we have with us on the second segment, Kismet Rito from the CROP program. That's the College Reach Out program, who's right here in the University of West Florida. Stay tuned and we'll be right back.
The Children's Movement of Florida wants you to spend your Labor Day with us at Pensacola High School to participate in the Milk Party event. We will be discussing covering Florida's children with health insurance, healthy child development, improving VBK, expanding support and information for parents, expanding access to effective mentoring programs. Pre-event starts at 8:30 a.m. and the main event starts at 10 a.m. For more information, call Audra Carter at 437-3301.
We're back and we're talking about the Children Movement of Florida. They're going to have an event on September the 6th, and I'd like to introduce you to another bridge builder in our community, a man who works with our children all the time. He helps them get from middle school to high school, through high school, and then on to college. Kismet Rito, we thank you for being here. How are you doing, sir?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
You know, you are in Leadership Pensacola this year, class of what?
2011, yes.
Did you know that for all of my leapers out there, 2004 is the best year? I'm sorry. we laugh about it, but leaders are very important. That is a wonderful organization. Are you an alum?
No.
Oh, got to be an alum. You got to get that one. Leadership Pensacola is all about bringing the community through many ups and downs. Leaders who are dare to be different, who challenge situations, but bridge many gaps in the community. We want to thank you for all the work you do with our children and all that free work you do out there in the community.
Thank you.
You are dubbed a bridge builder along with Mr. John and Mr. Randy. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for the work that you do. Bridging the Gap is about bringing people together in different perspectives. I want to talk about what happens when we do not have a movement where we actually bring all the different fractions of our community together to our youth. What happens to them? And I'd like you to talk about that, Randy, from...
What I work with the Department of Children and Families, and you know, we see a lot of child abuse and neglect, and what I think this will help to do is to reduce some of that. Some of the outcomes of child abuse and neglect are we have a lot of people going to prison. Those are certainly increased costs that we have to our community. We have a lot of health issues, which if children who aren't healthy throughout their life wind up being unhealthy adults. One of the real staggering statistics that really troubles me is that children who grew up with child abuse have a 21-year less life expectancy than people who do not grow up in homes where child abuse occurred. Some of the other things about not having the children's needs met have to do with education. If they don't go into the schools ready to learn, and when they get to school don't do well in school because of health or family issues or whatever those issues are, if they're not ready to enter the workforce or enter college when they leave school, those development needs, the supporting those parents and doing those things that are important to having children grow up in safe, loving homes.
So for those of you out there, if you care about your kids, which I know that many of us do, the reason why we want you at the rally is to meet other people just like you, connect with them within our community, find out that there's a lot of other people who are willing to help you with the situations, whether it has to do with child abuse or not having health insurance or just feeling alone.
You know, that's one of the great things about rallies and getting around other people. You can talk to them and find out just what it is that you in your life are.
It's only an hour of your time is from the actual event is from 10 to 11 on Labor Day, September the 6th. Right. But the pre-event activities start at 8:30, and it's going to be everything from giveaways and milk and cookies, and we'll have like you get to touch Randy and Diane and Kismet and say, you know, I need help, and take them to the side. It's about bringing a community together and bridging gaps. And so, Kismet, you deal with those kids that go through elementary school, now they're in middle school, and you're trying to get them prepared for college. What do you see?
Well, one of the primary things that I have observed is that when there's parental involvement, the children are more likely to be successful. When they're involved in helping their kids do their homework, helping them get the tutoring if they need it, making sure they're participating in extracurricular activities, the more parental involvement there is, the higher the likelihood the child is going to do better academically.
So for you as a parent, one of the things you might find is that there are other parents out there probably right next door to you or who are in need of that encouragement and support. Randy's right. Rallies are all about getting people excited about an issue, but what they are is they show numbers of people who are really concerned about an issue. Our issue is children, and the fact that they need parental support, they need health care, they need not to cut the budget, which they are threatening to do that. And the children movement of Florida have taken up that mantra to make sure that that doesn't happen. But right here in our community, we are segmented and many times not helping parents effectively. So when I bring leaders like Randy and Kismet together, what we're saying to you is you have to get involved. So I want you to talk about how important community and parent involvement really is.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I've talked to a lot of people this past week. We were in Orlando at a dependency summit, and I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of different organizations about what they're doing, and every one of them said, we do a better job helping families if the families will work with us and get involved with us so that we know what their needs are instead of us just having to guess. So if the families get involved and really take the time, we can have a better product, a better outcome for our children in Florida.
Well, I also feel that it's events like this that let families know what the resources are that are available. A lot of times when families need help, they really don't know where to go. So to provide an event like this with all the responsible agencies and all that will be present, you know, families can come and figure out what it is that they need. The other part of that is we have to build relationships, agencies with families, families with agencies, different community organizations. We have to build relationships. I can tell my students all day and their families, you should come to tutoring, but until I build that relationship with them, then it becomes meaningful, and then they listen to that recommendation. So if we don't have established that bond or a relationship with the families, we're going to be unsuccessful. So we have to get involved in the community like we're doing with the rally and other events. You have to get involved with the family so that they know that this is a trusted source for whatever assistance that they may need.
So tell us, what does CROP do?
CROP is the College Reach Out program, and we work with middle school and high school kids, getting them prepared for college. So absolutely anything that deals with the college process, that's what we do with them. Whether it's a college visit, help with financial aid applications, actual college applications, scholarship searches, help them with their homework, projects, anything that deals with that process, that's what we're going to do. We're a part of a statewide network because there's a CROP program at every public institution in the state of Florida, the majority of the community colleges, and even a couple private schools. I can call any one of those coordinators. If I have a student that wants to go to University of North Florida, I can call the coordinator there and say, hey, I have a student coming. These are the problems they're having. How can you help? So the students automatically become part of a statewide network. And then, of course, they get the sales pitch for how wonderful of an institution UWF is. But my overall goal is to make sure they get into some type of post-secondary institution.
So when John Hoffman was here with eCare, he talked about the fact that we need to, as a community, connect people with the many resources that they have in our community. Right. When we look at children, we find that a lot of youngsters, we're talking 16, 14, 15, are having children, and they need someone to go to, and that person is first parents, and then probably the church, and probably friends, and then from there it's the friends' friends and an extended family. We're asking you to come to children, that our children deserve health care. We being raffled off, so, and that's what, 300, is that the end thing? Is that the end thing, Kismet? Is that the end thing?
Well, not only children, adults like we too.
Right,
it's got the
right.
sports games, bowling, and things like that for adults too. It's not just for kids.
Wow.
And it's an amazing gaming system for the entire family. Regardless of what your skill level is, what your age is, the whole family can get involved with some of the games that's on there.
So we're going to have a giveaway. We're going to be giving away gift cards. We want to make it a fun-filled family community involvement, but also talk seriously about the issues that are truly affecting our kids. As we wind down this segment, I'm going to ask Kismet and Randy to make that ask to you. If you have questions about the movement, how you can be involved, we're still looking for volunteers to help us on that day. We're looking to have many, many people come through there. We'll have groups performing, so you'll see a lot of people that you know in the community, either singing or dancing. I think the children's chorus is going to be doing a couple of songs, and as you know, they're a really professional group. In addition to, you'll see many people that we know, like Marty Stanovich, and Sue Strong will be our celebrity speaker on that event. Sandy Sansing will be there to help move things along. So we really have embraced many people.
Those are two very strong children's advocates. Sue and Sandy Sansing are very strong advocates, and you can play a part too. You know, there are a lot of organizations. We've started the Strengthening Families, but your church, get involved with your church and start something there that's going to help your children. But get involved with the eCare program. Work with your child care centers. There's a lot that you can do in your community if you just look.
Kismet?
Well, getting involved is the key. Participation in your community builds ownership to your community. You don't feel outcasted or anything like that. So it's very important to get involved and find out what the resources are. So in the circumstance where you need that resource, you know where to go. A lot of times in low-income communities and just communities, period, when we do have emergencies, we really don't know where to go for help. How do we get the assistance that we need? So to be involved in an event like this kind of helps you with arming yourself with those things that are going to be beneficial to you.
And remember, This is the first of 15 rallies that are going to be in the state of Florida, and we can't let our children down. We have to be there in large numbers, and we're going to make sure that everyone gets milk and cookies, and that you're able to be with people in the community that really can help you move from level to level. That's really what it's all about. I think that we're a community that understand that if I don't have the answer, I can call Randy or John or Kismet to get the answer, and that's why a community that stands together can make all the difference in the world. We're asking you to be a part of this rally. We're asking you to stay tuned and tell people, if you look on the website, where the next rally is going to be, so to make sure their events are important. And the reason why we're doing this is so that when we go to tell them not to cut any spending for our children, that they understand that Florida is going to stand up, that we're going to make sure that our children are taken care of. We thank you for tuning in to this segment of Bridging the Gap. We thank you, Randy, and we thank you, Kismet, and also John for being a part of this. You can participate in I'm your host, Audra Carter, thanking you for being with us. And Kismet and Randy, 30 seconds or less, make your ask.
Please, please help with the providers in the community. Be a part of the organizations. Look for ways you can help support our children.
If you have a child that's getting prepared for college and needs some assistance, College Reach Out program is the thing for you.
And I'm speaking on behalf of John Hoffman and everyone, that every child is a reader. When you read to your child, when you're with your child, you're probably giving them the best start you could ever do in life. As a parent and as a leader and as a teacher, we are our child's first and most important teacher. Thank you for being with me tonight. Look forward to seeing you on another segment of Bridging the Gap. Hi, I'm Audra Carter. I'm the host of Bridging the Gap radio and TV show, whose mission is to bridge multicultural gaps through honest, authentic dialogue with our community. Bridging the Gap aims to inspire and empower unity in our community.